Welcome to the JTV Caribbean News. I am Sean Rose. Bermuda's health bosses are exploring ways to tackle crippling healthcare bills, as a new study shows healthcare in Bermuda costs twice as much as other islands. The island's healthcare figure of more than $10,000 per capita per year dwarfs that of all other 14 islands in the study, including 9 countries in the Caribbean, in the new research done by KPMG. According to the RoyalGazette.com, the survey, Key Issues in Healthcare, an Island Perspective, reveals Gibraltar comes in second with about $5,000 per capita, with every other island just around $4,000 or less. Dr. Jennifer Atreed Sterling, the new permanent secretary for Bermuda's Ministry of Health, pointed to a large amount of services being used on the island, sometimes, she said, without any health benefits. High levels of poorly controlled diseases like diabetes and the aging population were further reasons for Bermuda's soaring cost, according to Dr. Atreed Sterling. Bermuda Health Council acknowledged Bermuda has a long way to go before patients get value for money, and said it is pursuing initiatives to bring down health care costs. Telecommunications ministers in the OECS and other regional legislators have called for lower roaming rates within the Caribbean region. Representatives of the ECTEL member states have called on telecommunications service providers in the Caribbean region to propose solutions to the issue of over-the-top services for the consideration of policymakers and regulators. Other ministers from the Caribbean region, including Barbados, Turks and Caicos Islands, and Antigua and Barbuda, have also supported the call. During the ministerial panel of the 31st Annual Conference of CANTO, or Caribbean Association of National Telecommunications Operators, the ministers also stated that over the past few years, consumers have already been latched on to OTTs, and therefore as a group, they must be engaged in the discussions on the solutions. Dr. Gerald Thompson, Special Advisor on Science and Technology to the Government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, stated that telecommunications providers should treat the ECTEL member states as one space, and the providers should stop grandstanding on the issue of roaming. The Canto Conference and Trade Exhibition was held in Miami, USA from July 27 to 29 under the theme Improving Lives Through Broadband Innovation. Over 400 delegates from the Caribbean and Latin America region, including service providers, regulators, and government officials, attended that conference. The government of Grenada has lowered the volcano alert level for Kikomjeni to yellow following an advisory from the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center. The threat level had been raised to orange after an increase in seismic activity last week. Over the weekend, a team including Dr. Frederick Dundee, a volcanologist from the SRC, Grenada's acting National Disaster Coordinator, and a photographer conducted a flyover of the volcano site and concluded that no unusual activity was occurring. The yellow alert level calls vessels to observe a 1.5-kilometer exclusion zone, but the marine community is advised to take caution and continue to observe the 5-kilometer exclusion zone. The SRC has stated that there will be no further advisories issued barring a marked change in seismic output at the volcano site. Cuba and St. Lucia recently signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at expanding trade between the two countries. St. Lucia's Trade Export Promotion Agency hopes to introduce quality St. Lucian products into the Cuban market. According to Caribbean News Now, the MOU cements the ongoing relationship between the TEPA and the CPEC to expand the trade between the two countries. It was signed during the recently held Cuba-Caribbean Business Forum in Santiago de Cuba. The forum was hosted by the Cuban Chamber of Commerce and the local government authorities of Santiago de Cuba to mark the 500th anniversary of the city. St. Lucia's Minister for Commerce, Business Development, Investment and Consumer Affairs, Emma Hippolyte, said the government of St. Lucia hopes that this relationship will deepen existing bilateral relations and also examine further trade opportunities to be pursued between St. Lucia and Cuba. And finally, in this week's Caribbean News segment, it looks like the U.S. government will have to wait to get former FIFA Vice President and TNT National Security Minister Jack Warner in a U.S. court anytime soon. According to News Americas Now, Warner has instructed his legal team to file for a judicial review of the extradition proceedings on the grounds that Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessa's government had prosecuted the case against him and made it impossible for him to get a fair trial. Warner is the leader of the Independent Liberal Party, an opposition party in the Trinidad and Tobago Parliament. He is being represented by attorneys Fayad Hussein SC, Nairi Alfonso, Rishi Das, and Anil Maharaj. He has retained the British Queen's Counsel Edward Fitzgerald to lead his defense. On Monday, a Trinidad magistrate again pushed back a hearing on the U.S. extradition request, this time to August 28, after state and defense lawyers requested more time to study the U.S. corruption allegations against the former football bigwig. Warner, age 72, has been on a TT $2.5 million bail ever since he was arrested on May 27th as part of a dragnet by U.S. law enforcement authorities that also netted 14 former and present FIFA officials worldwide. Warner is accused of taking payments totaling $10 million sent by a high-ranking FIFA official to give South Africa the right to host the 2010 World Cup. For the JTV Caribbean News, I am Sean Rose.
And coming up next on JTV News, festival honorees recall memories of festival in their early years. Sister Joyce shares licks, winning her third Calypso Monarch crown. And JTV News hears from 2015 Miss Junior BVI Kyra Molinar on her plans during her reign.